Dexter vs Elecman is a very interesting battle to say the least. According to my friend Cobalt, Dexter doesn't really have any actual powers outside of his dark form, and that this fight is basically a slaughter rather than a fight. But I'm gonna be fair with Dexter and give him his dark powers, but even with his dark powers, this is still surprisingly not in his favor. So here we are. Dexter vs Elecman is not even close. Here's why. At a base level, he gets to about small building level, probably lower since he's way weaker than Jak. But he is strong enough to kill small metal heads that can also injure him. But if we somewhat compare him to Jak's with the dark power, he can possibly get to continent level, which is pretty surprising. But him being that sort of level is dubious at best, so let's be fair and say he's maybe country level. And despite Elecman not being one of the most powerful robot masters, he has some pretty impressive feats. He's at least comparable to the other robot masters, and can scale anywhere from large island level to maybe even large planet level, which is pretty darn surprising. And he's even been able to keep up with the likes of Megaman, giving him at least moon level feats. Dexter in his normal form is about average human speed. In his dark form he gets about high hypersonic, whereas Elecman can actually get to massively faster than light since he can keep up with Megaman, and is stated to be superior in speed in comparison to other robot masters. Fighting skills are a little bit hard to calculate, but you could argue Elecman actually does know proper fighting since he's actually a robot and would have knowledge of fighting skills, so I would definitely put fighting in Elecman's favor. Dexter does have superhuman physical characteristics. He has weaponry, darkness manipulation, and some small amount of toon force, and might be somewhat stealthy. But Elecman also has superhuman physical capabilities, is technically immortal since he's a robot, and obviously he has electricity manipulation. And if I'm not horribly mistaken, according to the manga, he can steal electricity even from other beings, especially robots, which is gonna make him a very hard opponent to beat. And you can attribute both their durability to being the same as their power output. And I don't think Dexter can take advantage of Elecman's weakness to slashing attacks. And with how powerful Elecman is, he's definitely going to make Dexter cower in fear, which is his biggest weakness. So what should be surprising to absolutely nobody, the winner of this fight is Elecman. And that ends another edition of Who Will Win in 3 minutes. Stay awesome, and as always, a Dragon Fist. Hiya!